now doesn't necessarily mean that we should.
Getting the green light. We can once again enjoy buffets and Bloody Mary bars, but are they safe in our COVID world? The experts weigh in.
Light at the end of the tunnel. Ohio's positivity rate drops below the World Health Organization's recommendation for the first time in months. Plus, new information about when your child could get the COVID vaccine. Puppy scams. They've exploded this year. The red flags to watch out for if you're looking to add a fur baby to your family.
Bringing back jobs. The edgy new technique to bring businesses from major cities to the CLE.
He's a character, no doubt about it.
I'm good.
Yeah.
And meet Ronald and Betty from Bedford. They're celebrating 75 years together and sharing their secrets to a happy marriage. What's new starts now.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
And Ronald and Betty's story is so sweet.
I can't wait to
share that with you coming up. Happy Friday, everybody. It is Friday. This is What's New. I'm Betsy Kling alongside Jay Crawford. And Jay, I have just made the realization that I did not put my contacts in before I came to work today. I'm look here, like, things don't look quite right. And now I just registered as to why.
Do you have glasses here? I don't mind if you throw glasses on.
I don't have any here. So at this point, I don't even know if it's worth it. But
all right. Well, good luck.
I'm glad it's Friday and not Monday.
Don't run into anything. Yeah, happy Friday to you, Betsy, and to everyone at home. Thanks for choosing What's New. We begin today at 5 with more great news. And this headline has been 3.5 months in the making. For the first time since October 18th, Ohio's positivity rate is below the WHO's recommended threshold of 5%. Today's number, 4.2%. And just as a refresher, here's what that means. For every 100 coronavirus tests given in the state of Ohio yesterday, just over 4 of them came back positive. Keep in mind, at one point, we were in the high teens. This comes on the heels of Ohio keeping its hospitalizations low enough for the governor to lift the statewide curfew. It's gone now. Also gone, the ban on buffets has been lifted. But are salad and Bloody Mary bars safe to bring back? Our Will Ewick has been looking into that all day.
It's a Friday, Saturday night. The curfew's lifted.
Dan Stroop says the phones at Deegan's have been ringing off the hook since the statewide curfew was lifted and with Valentine's Day weekend upon us. But as they venture back to normal hours, not everything will be coming back right away.
Pre-COVID, we would have a Bloody Mary bar set up. That would entail, people coming up, hot sauces, different pickled vegetables, blue cheese olives.
Included with the curfew being lifted, buffets and salad bars are able to resume, but not everyone plans on jumping straight back in line.
Just because we can right now doesn't necessarily mean that we should.
While Deegan's is holding off bringing their famous Bloody Mary bar back, health experts say really there's not much more of a risk with a buffet than indoor dining in general.
The utensils, the surfaces are fine. That's not how COVID is spreading. It's really from people breathing on each other.
Dr. David Margolius, an infectious disease specialist at Metro Health, says don't worry about the salad bars, the buffets. Worry about your distance and mask.
Our hospital cafeterias have all stayed open this whole time, right? And we haven't seen transmission in the cafeteria part. Where transmission would happen is if people go into a break room, take off their masks, and they're sitting, on the other side of a table from each other.
But even so, Deegan's will just enjoy the extra hours and play wait and see with their Bloody Marys.
It's kind of like an added little bonus to have, but we've kind of had a good setup. The bartender makes a really good Bloody Mary, so we've kind of just pivoted that way for now.
As far as the timing of the curfew being lifted, the doctor said he has no problem with it. To give an idea, here at Metro Health, they had the positivity rate of about up to 30% back in December. That's since dropped to around 10% right now, so he's pretty optimistic about where we're headed, Jay.
Well, I know we give these numbers every night, and sometimes we probably could do a better job of explaining them, particularly the trends. I mentioned that our positivity rate statewide was in the high teens not that long ago, down below 5% now. You mentioned that it's also down at Metro. What are the experts saying as to why the positivity rate has plummeted so much?
Yeah, Jay, the doctor I spoke with today said it's a couple of things. It's that multi-pronged effect of, number one, the vaccine is working, and number two, people are doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're keeping their distance, they're keeping their mask, and he said his outlook this summer should be a lot better than where we are right now, Jay.
Well, that's certainly the hope. Will Hewick reporting live tonight. Will, thanks. Betsy?
Well, now on your feet at 5, research is ongoing to get kids vaccinated. But a lot of parents are asking the question, when will it be available and for what ages? For those answers, we, of course, turn to our senior health correspondent, Monica Robbins.
According to the CDC, teenagers are twice as likely to be infected with the virus than younger kids. Pfizer's vaccine is approved for 16 and up. It started recruiting younger people last fall and now has more than 2,200 12 to 15-year-olds testing the COVID vaccine. They hope to have results by summer. When they get those results, researchers say that's when they can start developing a plan to test kids under age 12. We don't know if kids can get the same dose amount as an adult, so that, and of course safety, is what needs to be figured out. Moderna's vaccine is approved for 18 and up. They want 3,000 in their trial and are still enrolling 12 to 17-year-olds. They hope to have results by mid-year too, and again, based on those results, they'll plan to test the vaccine in kids between 6 months and 11 years. So will kids be able to get the vaccine by the first day of school? As long as the trials show the vaccine is effective and safe, it should be available for middle and high schoolers by then. But we may need to wait until fall before it's potentially available for those under 11. The other vaccine manufacturers will be testing on kids too, but they still need to get approval for adults first.
So this is something I would expect parents to be watching very, very closely, because keep in mind those other studies with adults enrolled more than 40,000 adults in each study. And with this age group right now, it's less than 6,000. So if you have any concerns, by all means, discuss this with your pediatrician. But again, it's going to be several months, Bets, before this is even available for kids.
And this is not like, acetaminophen or ibuprofen where you just give the kids dose, just a little bit less than what the adults get. This is a totally different type of research to make sure it's safe for kids at any level. But they want to find the level that's effective too. It's kind of the ballpark, am I right?
Yeah, exactly. But keep in mind, these vaccines, they prevent severe disease. It doesn't mean they're preventing you from getting COVID. And we're still trying to figure out if you can get COVID, can you still transmit it, even though you've been vaccinated? So we still have a lot to learn about this.
We do, Monica. And I know you're staying on top of it, girlfriend. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Jay?
Well, Betsy, today President Trump's defense team presented their case in his impeachment trial. They claim that President Trump exercised his free speech and that the trial is unconstitutional. They also accuse the other side of selectively editing videos of the former president and offered their own videos of Democrats using similar phrases.
Fighting, or we kept fighting, and we did. So we're going to keep fighting.
We fight back. I'm in this fight.
To fight and to fight.
It's a word people use, but please stop the hypocrisy.
The defense says Mr. Trump is a victim of political hatred, claiming some of the evidence against him was manipulated. Both sides agree that the assault on the Capitol was planned. However, Trump's team strongly denies that he lit the fuse. The trial is now in the question and answer phase. A vote could happen as early as tomorrow.
Well, new billboards advertising Ohio are starting to pop up in big cities across the country. The goal is to get business owners to move their investments to the Buckeye State. Boy, I really need those contacts right about now. Right now, the billboards are scattered across Seattle, New York City, and Boston, and were created through Jobs Ohio. It's a nonprofit. Jobs Ohio says, in part, quote, "It is meant to be fun and just a bit edgy, with the ultimate goal getting ahead of competitor states and attracting jobs and investment for the people of Ohio," end quote. By the way, by edgy, they mean with sayings on the billboards like, "Your buildings are taller, but our taxes are smaller," holla, and "Live where you can actually afford to save for a rainy day. I think this is great. You know, I like the humor that it provides, but there's definitely a message there. We've had numerous people, Jay Crawford, move from megalopolis type cities, New York City metro area, to Ohio, and you're just gobsmacked at how cheap it is to live here.
It's unbelievable.
And to be able to bring an entire company here now, that's the kind of investment that we're talking about. And hopefully a lot of those people get to experience how great we are.
Bets, like you, I was raised in the Midwest, lived most of my life here. I know you moved to Florida for a time. I did as well. When I moved to Florida, I thought they used a different currency down there because even though the cost of living is very affordable here, I found the dollar to actually go even further in Florida, primarily because they have no state income tax. Then I moved to the Northeast for 16 years, and I thought I was on a completely different currency. And one of the things I most look forward to coming back to Ohio was just what you said. The cost of living here compared to these metro areas, particularly coastal, is so much more affordable. And I've been telling my friends in the Northeast for years, you guys need to check out Ohio. And I think these billboards are a great idea. I hope
Get
they
right
work.
into those metro areas.
Yeah, I hope they work. Okay, ahead on What's New, doggone thieves. Man, this story makes me angry. We're going to tip you off to scammers selling puppies that don't even exist. We'll tell you what you need to know to avoid it.
Plus, our Blacklight series continues. Today, you'll meet a local fashion design owner who's using thrifting to leave her mark on the fashion industry.
And Matt is in today. Tell us, Matt, what's in the forecast?
Hey guys, happy Friday. Hey, I hope you saw some of the sunshine earlier today, but the clouds are coming right back in. We've been watching the CSU cam over downtown Cleveland. A little bit of light snow possible tomorrow, a cold Valentine's Day on the way, and then heavy snow possibly next week. Lots to break down in the forecast. That's all coming up.
Right, thanks, Matt. Can't wait to see what you get to say, and I have to wait until 6 o'clock to say it. Anywho, this week's Save Our Sauce campaign for Ohio City restaurants finishes up with Johnny Mango doing dine-in and takeout. Their selections range from Caribbean fried plantains, Asian accented fried rice, Jamaican jerk, and Bangkok barbecue chicken. And their selection of margaritas is so awesome, and it goes along nicely with all of those dishes. Visit WKYC.com for a full list of great restaurants in this neighborhood from our Doug Tracker. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to What's New. Puppies and a national crisis. You put the two together and you have a scammer's dream. With so many people lonely or simply just stuck inside with more time on their hands, they're turning to four-legged friends for companionship. Sadly, thieves with bad intentions are taking advantage of that, even using the complications of COVID to help in their elaborate schemes. Here's consumer investigator Danielle Serino with the tales of heartbreak.
How could you resist a face like this?
She likes how they snort, their little squishy faces.
And Laura Nieder's family had to have one. With time on their hands due to COVID and stimulus money, they could. So Laura found a pug breeder, albeit out of state.
They were requesting $500 for the dog.
So she paid, but never got the pup. But it gets worse. Still determined to snag one, she found a breeder closer to home willing to sell one like this for about $600. Laura bit, but after the breeder got paid...
And then I got a second email from the courier saying that the only thing left to do was for me to pay $750 for a climate-controlled crate for the dog to travel in.
Laura didn't know. That's a major red flag.
They find all kinds of reasons to add on more requests for money, special crates, and they're also seeing requests for a non-existent vaccine that will protect the pet from COVID-19.
According to the Better Business Bureau, puppy scams exploded this past year. More than 4,000 victims, with an average loss of $750.
It's okay.
Sierra McLaurin loves dogs so much she was a shelter volunteer. But she really lost
$1,600,
which she paid with a cash app.
It's definitely a red flag if they're asking you to buy gift cards, to wire money, or to use an app like Zelle.
Sierra had found an adoption site offering French bulldogs, which is the dog of choice along with Yorkies, for scammers. And there was Jerry.
And it was the cute little gray French bulldog with blue eyes.
The scammers even sent this video of him before supposedly flying him from Oklahoma, which was why she paid. But Jerry never showed.
That's how I knew that it was a scam.
This tale did have a happy ending for Laura, though.
Come on, baby. Come on.
Meet Coco. A pet resort heard what happened to the Nieders and paid for them to get a puppy from a reputable breeder.
We wanted to help Laura and her kids have some love and joy from a pet.
To avoid the scam in the first place, consumer groups say use Google's image search to see if the puppy appears on other sites, and also check the seller for complaints. If they advertise the dog as being registered with a kennel club, call the club to verify. And only use a credit card, not checks or cash payment apps, so you have protections.
I was just blown away. They wanted to try and make our story have a happy ending.
Your best bet? Only get a pet you can meet in person, and consider adopting from a local shelter. Those animals have typically had health exams, their shots, and a guarantee if things don't work out. I'm Danielle Serino, 3 News.
All right, Danielle, thank you very much. Wow.
Yeah.
Buyer beware. I mean, it's that way with anything, whether it's dogs or doesn't matter.
Yep.
Got to be careful.
Weather forecast, same difference. Boy, there is some junk on the internet. I had somebody today on Twitter say, what is this? They show a map with 800 inches of snow over us. Just know, folks, there is a lot of junk that's on the internet. Yes, we have a potential for some decent snow next week, but the details still need to be nailed down, which is, of course, why we bring Matt Standridge in on this part of the conversation. We've been talking about this for the last couple hours now. And Matt, I think the outlook for next week is we know it's coming. We don't quite yet know how much.
Yeah, but at least right now it still looks like something significant. Yeah. And then when we're trying to fine tune those values, we'll do so a little bit closer, but several inches could be possible. And Jay and Betsy, it's been so funny because we have our daily weather meetings and we all hop on, all our meteorologists, and we all have, I don't know if it's terrible, but we all have grins on our faces because we're looking towards next week and it's a very active week. So lots of things to talk about. This weekend, not a crazy weekend in terms of the weather, but a couple things to mention. Tomorrow, for your Saturday, there will be a couple flurries out there, a little bit of light snow. Some of us could try to pick up a dusting or so. Not a big event with that. Going into Sunday, Valentine's Day, it's going to be very cold. Now, you probably have heard on the national news some big record-breaking cold is going to be across the central United States. We're not going to be that cold, but it is going to be chilly for Valentine's Day. But the biggest story, like Betsy was just talking about, will be next week when heavy snow will be coming in for Monday and Tuesday. Let's start with some of the cold, because the cold is actually one reason why we're going to get possibly a good amount of snow next week. The Arctic air is really centered over the northern plains and headed into the southern plains too, where they're going to be breaking some big-time records. But it's going to be about 23 degrees here in Cleveland. That puts us in, I believe, if I check right, we're in the top 9. We're tying for the top 9th coldest day for Valentine's Day when you're looking at cold record highs for the day, but it's going to be pretty chilly. Not the coldest Valentine's Day, though, that we've ever experienced, but a lot of folks towards our west will have the coldest Valentine's Day they've ever experienced on record. But what's interesting is when you go towards the coldest air, you go towards the edge of the cold air, and that's where you get that storm track. So the coldest air is going to be just towards our west. But what that means here in Ohio is that the storm track comes right over the Buckeye State. So we're going to be watching several systems come from the southwest, go right through Ohio, and give us possibly heavy snow, I think especially Monday and Tuesday. We're watching some of these low pressure systems towards the west. One for tomorrow, that'll be pretty light, but the biggest one will be headed into the Pacific coast right now, and that'll be here once again Monday into Tuesday. Right now things are fairly quiet. We've had the clouds start to come on in, and we'll have some peaks of sunshine, I think, throughout tomorrow, but it's going to be cold the next couple of days as that Arctic air is just sitting in the central United States. You're looking at the National Zymer hour-by-hour forecast. Tomorrow, a lot of 20s, but there will be a couple flurries out there. How much snow we're talking about? Once again, just about a dusting or so. It's not going to be a big snow for us. The big snows will be taking place next week, and you see them on that Union Home Mortgage 7-day outlook. I mean, Betsy and I were talking. We could possibly get maybe aiming towards that 8-inch mark or more in the middle of next week with some of these systems. So Jay, we have some serious snow on the way. This weekend, though, overall pretty quiet.
Okay, caught me off guard there with 8 inches of snow. Okay, we'll take a look at that. Matt, thank you very much. We'll see you in the next half hour. Next for us here on What's New, this Friday, sustainable fashion. Meet the local designer using her talent to promote sustainability.
Plus, it's hard to find someone who doesn't enjoy Starbucks, right? Well, that includes a foster kitten. We'll have more. Look at that little face. What an adorable baby. We'll have that story coming up in our Worth the Watch.
She likes it.
Just like me.
In honor of Black History Month, each Friday in February, we're introducing you to a unique person in the Black community and how they're excelling in their career. Today, Kara Cotton, has part of her Black Light series, introduces us to a local fashion designer.
We've all heard the saying, one man's trash is another man's treasure.
I'll go to a thrift store and just see whatever sticks out to me and let it choose me instead of the other way around.
For 25-year-old Sierra Boyd, it's not just a saying. She's made a living out of it. Boyd is the owner of Frisk Me Good Inc., a clothing line dedicated to mixing bold and flamboyant designs that focuses on upcycling and sustainability.
It's basically using materials that have already been produced, already been created, already made their mark on fast fashion in the industry.
Boyd's journey began in 2017. After she graduated from Ohio University, she was lost and in search of a way to get back to her creative roots. That's when she turned to music.
Make sure you're frisk me good, check this in my bro.
And just like that, inspiration struck and the brand was born.
At the beginning, it really didn't mean anything to me at all. I was just oh, frisk me good, that's cute. But now, it's brought a whole new meaning to my world.
It's a world where her dreams have come to fruition. Her creations, specifically her signature sneaker corsets, have been featured in Hypebae and Nylon magazine. They've even been spotted on celebrities including Slick Woods and most recently Dream Doll in her video with DJ Khaled. Even through her success, Sierra says she's not willing to cut corners when it comes to her clients.
I always wrap it with care, always give a sticker, always give a pin, and always give a thank you note. So I just want people to feel like they are truly appreciated when they receive a package from me.
With the help of resale app Depop, Sierra has produced a noteworthy career at a young age. And as she grows, she ultimately aims to continue paying homage to her roots.
That's just one of my goals, is to educate people on the history of Black fashion and definitely giving recognition to those people that did lead the way for us.
And while working to expand her brand, Sierra also has plans to release a book. It'll introduce readers to 50 notable Black fashion designers. She hopes to have it produced by the end of this year. And next week, I'll introduce you to Leanne Jones, a digital marketer with the Cleveland Browns. Back to you guys.
So many cool looks there. That was really awesome. Thanks, Kara. Well, it was love at first sight for this foster kitten and a cup of whipped cream. Meredith sticks her tiny little head in a cup of Starbucks whipped cream. I think we all can agree a kitty chino is a good thing. After learning she's been adopted, the best part is when she lifts her head up, obviously, and she has that whipped cream everywhere on her little whiskers and whatnot. That is a happy little kitty right there.
I wonder if she's thinking, wow, this new life of mine is awesome. I get this every day.
Yeah, why not, right? Oh, that's so cute. Well, all the best to them and their new family friend. Well, head for us here on What's New. Bring film home. New details on this year's Cleveland International Film Festival.
Plus, Betsy, a lifetime of love. This is a great story. We're going to introduce you to this adorable local couple. They're celebrating 75 years of marriage today. And we're going to hear their secret to longevity.
And then epic Zoom fails. I could watch that cat Zoom all day. It is so fantastic. Mike Polk Jr. on just how wacky it's been trying to communicate over the app and shows us some of the best moments.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
And we welcome you into the second half hour of What's New. Happy Friday to everyone. It's great to be with you, and we thank you for sharing time with us. In case you're just joining us, this is kind of a ride by the seat of our pants day because Betsy is working with no contact lenses today. So who knows what could happen. You may want to watch this next half hour closely.
I honestly, it's one of those things, like I've been so busy all day doing other things that I got ready, grabbed my stuff and left. I drove to her. It's like everything has been fine. And then I sat down and I looked up and I'm like, oh,
that's out of
no,
focus.
It's the worst feeling ever. So I apologize if I'm squinting a little bit or whatnot.
So far, 2 thumbs up.
Thank you.
We haven't had any major mishaps yet, but
Not
you never know. We got half with the show to go.
We'll get there.
We begin this half hour with 3 things you need to know. We do that every day here on What's New. First up, former President Trump's legal team presented their case in the impeachment trial today. They called the trial unconstitutional and claimed the president was exercising free speech. They presented an edited montage of top Democrats using similar rhetoric, claiming they were being hypocrites. Trump's defense ended its case, leaving hours on their clock, saying they give that time back to the Senate to work on issues of great importance to the American people. The trial has now moved into the question and answer phase, and a vote could happen as early as tomorrow.
And Akron police are mourning one of their own. Officer Edward Stewart died this morning from COVID-19 complications. Stewart spent 27 years on the force. His co-workers say he was a humble man and genuinely nice to everyone he met. Our thoughts are with his friends and family and the Akron police family during this difficult time.
Hate to hear that. Here's our daily coronavirus numbers. New cases were up by nearly 500 today, but still remain 500 below our 21-day average. The big data point continues to be the positivity rate. It is now at 4.2%. That's below the WHO's recommended threshold of 5%. That's the first time we've been below that 5% since October 18th, 3.5 months. Also, just under 1.2 million Ohioans have now received at least one of the 2 vaccine shots, and that puts us over the 10% threshold of Ohioans that have started this process. And we finish with hospitalizations. They continue to fall. They are now below 1,800 statewide. And now on to our top talker at 5:30. And if you haven't purchased something for your significant other, you're running out of time. Valentine's Day is Sunday, and Betsy, you will not believe how much some people plan to spend this year. According to Retail Me Not, couples who've dated 2 years or more will spend, on average, $156 on Valentine's Day this year. Ooh. An engaged couple, that number goes up to $243. Ooh. For newlyweds, up again, $317. And listen to this, Betsy. For those married a decade or more, the combined total that they are spending on one another, $467. Now, here's where I think it gets a little weird. When it comes to gifts, a survey found that chocolate is the most popular, followed by a nice meal and flowers. I don't know, Betsy, what kind of flowers they're having or what kind of restaurants they're eating, but how are they getting up to $467 if the popular item is chocolates and a meal?
Well, I think the restaurant would probably play a big part of that, right? And that's the average that people spend together. So, you think there's some people that are spending a lot more than that. And certainly, I, for one, I just want a nap. Like that, just
couple hours to yourself, right?
Save the money for something else, college educations for 2 kids, all that stuff. But I'll just take a nap.
I feel like a cheapskate, though. I got to tell you, I don't think I spend close to $467 Valentine's Day. I'm sorry, honey. I hope that doesn't say anything about me, but
actually, we lied. We have to correct our own story. It's actually $25 is the national average.
Yeah, there you go. That's a number I can get my head around.
I got your back, bro. All right, as we count down to Valentine's Day weekend, or Valentine's Day this weekend, we have a heartwarming story to bring you. I need those contacts. Meet Betty and Roland Ramito. These two are so adorable. They are celebrating their 75th wedding anniversary today. We talked to them about their lifelong love story that, especially during this pandemic, we could all use a little love right now.
Well, the good Lord blessed us with some years, so we're happy to be here.
Yeah, the good Lord blessed her with me, honey.
Some things never change, like the love shared by 95-year-old Roland and 92-year-old Betty Ramito. Their families have been friends for generations, but their story starts in Bedford, where they both grew up. It's also where they decided to make their own family after they were married in 1946.
It just seemed longer.
And how that marriage came to be is where the story gets good. Roland left for World War II for a tour in the Navy's submarine service, and he wrote Betty a letter every single day. And Betty would write a letter back. As a matter of fact, Roland proposed to Betty in a handwritten letter. They wed after Roland returned from the war, and it's been 75 years together. So what's their secret to a happy marriage?
Well, the first thing I always say is you have to have an abundance of patience. A lot of it. And you also have to know when to keep your mouth shut.
And that's all the time. It's real easy. Just close your eyes and close your ears. And then you're okay.
I swear they like each other.
I said, if you close your eyes and close yours, what about this?
Oh, dear.
Their love story continues as their family grows. They have 4 children, 7 grandchildren, and 5 great-grandchildren. But on their big day, their anniversary, there was no big party because of the pandemic.
We can't be together, which is a shame. But that's the way it goes.
If you come, don't forget the present.
Virtual presents this time. Happy anniversary.
Isn't that so cute?
Wow.
You can tell they've been married a long time, too. Just their little jiving back and forth.
It was adorable.
Yeah.
Bets, you know what? I think they talked about a couple of things that helped them reach 75 years. I think one thing that's obvious that they didn't touch on is sense of humor.
Oh.
I think that's very important. And they clearly have it. They can poke fun at themselves and the other one, and it all works.
Well, they do have a small celebration expected tonight, a little dinner fun. And another fun fact, their firstborn son has been married over 50 years.
It runs in the family.
Wow.
That's great.
Good stuff.
Happy anniversary. Enjoy. Still ahead on What's New, we know 2020 and even this year so far has been full of Zoom calls. So we're looking at some of the more memorable calls that went viral for not only their humor, but heartfelt touches as well. Who else would we put on that story but Mike Polk Jr.? I can't wait to see this, Beth.
Ah, yes, the king of the Zoom interview himself. Well, then, how many bad dates have you been on? We've been talking about this all week, and it always comes up about this time of the year. Well, Stephanie Haney shows off some of your experiences that you have shared with us and one of her own. Plus, we're going to get another check on that forecast. Matt, has the forecast outlook changed at all?
It's changed in terms of it's looking definitely likely in terms of when we're looking at all the forecast guidance for next week, because we have some big systems headed next week. Things are coming together for Ohio. Some good chances for some snow likely next week. This weekend, a little bit of snow tomorrow, and then a pretty cold Valentine's Day will be here. We're going to break it down for you coming up.
All right, Matt, we'll see you in a little bit. And in today's Black History Moment, we're highlighting the first black unit assemblies for military purposes. Here's Romney Smith.
During the Civil War, Confederate General John Hunt Morgan was planning to attack Cincinnati in 1862. In response, the Black Brigade of Cincinnati was formed. They were the first all-black unit to be utilized for military purposes in the North. Keep in mind, every war this country has fought in has had a black American. But this was a specific group of 17 companies who built roads, dug rifle pits, chopped trees, built forts, and more. Many of the men involved wanted to formally join the military, but were denied because of their skin color, even though they'd proven their value and resourcefulness.
I do. It is up now, yes.
Mic check, testing 1, 2, 3, mic check.
This cold weather can be tough on our homeless community. And recently, a group of volunteers prepared care packages filled with clothing, non-perishable food, and a guidebook to let those who are experiencing helplessness know that they are loved. The items will be distributed tomorrow at the annual Homeless Stand Down event, which is led by Business Volunteers Unlimited. For more information on the event, head over to bvuvolunteers.org/events. Certainly it has been cold. That has been a huge, thing to think about. We take it for granted. You throw a coat on, you go outside, and that's fine. You go inside when you get cold and all that. Well, there's a lot of people that don't have that opportunity. So taking care of the homeless, certainly something that is on a lot of people's minds right now. And we are not done yet. We have more cold, and now we're going to throw a very fast storm system track into the mix of this. And next week, Matt, is setting up to be a very interesting one.
Yeah, our weather team's going to be very busy next week, and everything comes into play together. I mean, the atmosphere is a fluid, and we've been talking about this as a weather team too. We're not going to get the coldest air out of the system. That's going to be just towards our west. However, this cold air is picking up moisture from the south, and it's going to be bringing it as snow eventually next week, and some significant snow may be possible too. This weekend, though, things are going to be on the quieter side. It's going to be cold, and we'll have a couple of flurries. I want to show you something. Cleveland, we're going to tie for the 9th coldest Valentine's Day when you're looking at the high temperature, or basically how high did we be able to get that afternoon. It's going to be the 9th coldest. So the coldest was actually 13 degrees. Much of the coldest air out of this whole system is going to be actually towards our west. You're going to see on the national news, a lot of cities are going to be breaking record cold temperatures for Valentine's Day. Well, we're cold, but maybe not as cold. So maybe that's some good news, a silver lining this weekend for your Sunday. But as we look towards next week's kind of the big focus, because this cold air is eventually going to be bringing some heavy snow for us. I think the heaviest snow will be coming Monday and then all the way through Tuesday morning. And what's really driving this snow is actually that polar vortex, the cold air towards our west. We're watching some of these temperatures and they just continue to drop. But notice how a lot of folks, even towards Kansas and Oklahoma, are going to be colder than Ohio. But what's going to be happening over time is you have to watch the edge of the cold air, because that's where low pressures start to form, and then they'll swing off towards the north and east. So we're not going to have record cold here. We'll have that towards our west. We're still going to be pretty cold. Once again, 9th coldest Valentine's Day on record. But what's interesting is that we'll be watching the potential for these systems to take advantage of the cold air in the central United States and then fling that moisture towards Ohio. So for this weekend, for tomorrow, we actually have a couple of snow showers that will be moving through. You see the low pressure in Nebraska, but a stronger low pressure is making its way towards the Pacific coast, and that'll be bringing a lot more moisture towards next week. Right now, things are fairly quiet. We had a fairly nice Friday. We had some sunshine earlier today, but the clouds are increasing ahead of a couple of snow flurries that'll be coming in for your Saturday. Temperatures will drop into the low 20s, a couple teens for tomorrow morning. Jason Frazier's going to help you get out tomorrow morning, and we're going to be watching some of those flurries start to move in from the west. Not a big deal tomorrow. We could try to pick up dusting or so, maybe up to an inch or so of snow tomorrow. Tomorrow's not the big snow day. Sunday we stay dry, but when you're looking at the Union Home Mortgage 7-day outlook, it is Monday into Tuesday. Several inches of snow may be possible. We're trying to come up with some snowfall totals, and we're going to continue to fine-tune the forecast, but we're talking maybe close to 8 inches or more. Some of us trying to aim towards that foot mark by next week. We have some big systems on the way, but it's all that cold air, Betsy, that we're watching towards our west. It's going to be flinging moisture towards Ohio next week.
It's all about track, timing, speed. There's so many variables that come together to bring us a heavy snow hit, but this is a storm from the south, and that is an equal opportunity system, so one that we will be very closely monitoring. Matt, thank you so much. We'll see you again coming up tonight on Front Row. Jay?
All right, I know many of you love him and wait for his features in our show, so a Mike Polk Jr. alert, here he comes. Here's a question for you. Have you had an embarrassing Zoom fail yet? I'm sure you've had at least a moment. All these months into the pandemic, videos of people hilariously getting caught unaware or perhaps in a cat filter like we saw the other day, they're still making headlines. Mike Polk Jr. decided that he would take a look at why these totally relatable moments have so captured our hearts and our senses of humor.
By now, we've all seen the video of the online court hearing featuring a lawyer trapped in a cat filter so many times that it's not even funny anymore.
I'm here live. I'm not a cat.
Okay, never mind. It's still very funny, and it always will be. It's just a little overexposed right now. But fortunately, just as that was getting stale, the internet passed the torch to Minnesota Congressman Tom Emmer, who accidentally appeared upside down during a House committee hearing, much to the bemusement of his colleagues.
You're upside down, Tom. I don't know how to fix that.
That one's pretty good, too, though frankly, it could have used some more cat. When the pandemic forced much of the world's activities to move online last year, there were bound to be some growing pains as we all adjusted to unfamiliar technology. And let me tell you, it has paid off in spades for those of us who enjoy reveling in a good old-fashioned Zoom fail. It's what brought us such early pandemic hits as this screen grab posted by someone whose boss turned herself into a potato during a meeting and couldn't fix it. Who could forget this poor lady who forgot to turn off her camera when she took a pit stop during a work meeting?
Poor Jennifer.
Not ideal. And of course the Italian priest who inadvertently held mass with some pretty aggressive face filters on. You'd think we'd all have a better grasp on this whole video conferencing thing by now, what with being a year into this and all, but I for one hope that people never manage to master it so that our days can continue to be brightened by these awkward online predicaments of others. Because frankly, I think it's good for society. I'll explain. Other types of humor don't go viral like this. We don't pass around stand-up comedy clips or funny movie scenes with nearly the same intensity that we pass around clips of guys unknowingly scratching themselves in front of work meetings that they believed had concluded. I think one reason for that is that these aren't actors. These are real people like us. In fact, they could be us. Many of us have come perilously close to becoming viral memes ourselves, so it's relatable. Secondly, they're not mean-spirited. It's easier to enjoy an embarrassing mishap when you know the subject of the embarrassment is no worse for the wear. During a pretty dire year with so much darkness and negativity, I feel like these brief, collectively shared moments of innocent, abject silliness are not only a relief, but possibly even vital to maintaining connection with one another. This clip was shared on CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News, all very different outlets with very different perspectives, but one thing upon which they were all in agreement is that this is amusing and worth sharing. So when anything unifying comes along about which we can form a consensus, we need to embrace it and ride that tiger, no matter how silly the source. And if that takes something as stupid as the mutual appreciation of cat-based Zoom fail memes, so be it. You gotta start somewhere. This is Mike Polk Jr. for 3 News, and I am a cat.
I think that's a great point, Betsy. When you can have those 3 media outlets with drastically different views on at least political things, they can agree on one thing. Let's find whatever that common ground is, and oftentimes, Betsy, it is humor, and all of those are very funny.
Well, the problem is there's a lot of families that have just, you only have so many electronic devices.
Yeah.
And when you share them with your kids,
you get cat filters.
There's all kinds of crazy stuff that happens. So I've been in many a meeting as Vi and Vi and all kinds of fun stuff. But, you got to roll with it when it happens.
Mike Polk, well done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, well done.
Well, just ahead for us here on What's New, we know not all Valentine's days go as planned. Coming up, Stephanie Haney shows us some of the worst dates that you sent into us and shares one of her own experiences.
Wow, Stephanie putting herself out there. Mm-hmm. But it's not all doom and gloom. Our Show Us Something Good today is full of dozens of couples renewing their vows. They did it on live TV today. How this moment made history is coming up.
Okay. You are super quiet for some reason.
Well, it's time now to see what's clicking in Cleveland, and for that we bring in our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney. Hi, Stephanie. Happy Friday to you.
Hi, Betsy. Happy Friday to you. The Cleveland International Film Festival has just announced the perfect theme for its 45th annual event. It will be streaming again this year, and the theme is Bring Film Home. Britton DeWorth of Type 27, which came up with the idea, said by showcasing our homes as theaters, we reinforce the camaraderie that has developed over the decades, forming a neighborhood of like-minded individuals who have decided to bring film home. Streaming starts April 7th, and we'll have the lineup for you on Friday, March 12th. As promised, we have a couple of Valentine's Day date fails for you on this Friday. This first one is funny, but also scary. Kim Jones-Babbitt, shown here with her hubby in 1979, tells us on one Valentine's Day, her diaphanous robe caught fire from one of 50 candles lit in her bedroom. She ended up with holes in their bedding, and she got burned. Ouch, I guess love hurts sometimes. Diaphanous, by the way, means light, delicate, and translucent. So something like this, but on fire. And poor Zach Rambod, he had a banana cream pie thrown in his general direction by an ex. It's unclear who made the pie, but when pressed, he elaborated that he and his then-girlfriend were arguing, so he went outside to cool down, got in his car, and while it was warming up, she opens the door and out flies the banana cream pie. Not a very sweet move there. All right, per Betsy's request yesterday, only fair that I share a bad date story too. So, picture this. It's 2017. A freshly single Stephanie Haney lands in New York City looking for career success and love, so I agree to go out with the man that I met on Snapchat. First mistake. So he shows up, I show up by myself. He has a whole entourage with him. I'm telling you, like 5 people. I roll with it. As the date goes on, he starts getting real flirty, kind of touchy with this other woman that he's brought, and I'm thinking, I'm crashing their date. He admits to me that he brought this woman as a ringer to flirt with him, make me jealous, and make me want a second date. And he says this has worked for him in the past, and that's why he did it.
Did you thump him in the forehead, tell him he's not worthy, and walk away? I mean, at that point, that's all you could do. What?
Yeah. Actually, I did go out with him again, but that wasn't why, and the second date was bad, and that's my fault, and that's where it ended.
Well, we're going to have to talk about this over a glass of wine at some point.
Oh, yeah. There's more to the story for off camera, for sure.
Oh, my gosh. Stephanie, thank you so much. You just cracked me up. All right, have a great weekend, girlfriend.
On behalf of an entire gender, I
You too.
apologize to Stephanie.
That's pretty shady.
That is horrible. And
I knew you would, Jay.
And only
I
Stephanie, the
appreciate it.
nicest person in the world, would give this clown a second date. We love you, Stephanie. Happy Valentine's Day. All right, next on What's
Love
New,
you guys.
love breaks a world record. How over 50 couples renewed their vows today, and there is an Ohio connection to this story, Betsy.
And then on at 6 on What Matters Most, roses are red, violets are blue, but so is one local lobster. Will Hewitt introduces us to Claudia in Akron. Now you can check her out. She's rare.
I am. Hey, how are you, David? I'm good. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hey, Rob.
Hey, I gotcha. Do you have me? Mic check 1, 2, 3.
Today's show is Something Good comes right from the Today Show. This morning, 53 couples from all across the United States renewed their wedding vows virtually. In fact, there were 2 couples from Northeast Ohio. How about that? They also broke a Guinness World Record for the most vow renewal ceremonies performed online simultaneously. Congrats to all of them. Cool. And to you, we say thanks for watching. We're back Monday at 5. Have a great Valentine's Day weekend.
What Matters Most with Russ and Laura starts